Hey everybody, this is Roy Cannaday, and welcome to my top 100 games of all time. Speaking of which, I have done this several times before. The first time I did it was back in 2017, a couple years before I even started working for the Dice Tower. But yeah, I do a lot of video editing and a lot of live stream production here at the Dice Tower, and my tastes are normally more thematic games or games that I can play with my friends and family, get to the table easily, or games that are big and epic. But if you know much about my taste in gaming, or if you align with me, you're awesome, and thank you very much. And even if you don't align with my taste, maybe this will help you inform you a little bit more on my reviews and kind of like why I like or dislike certain games. Anyway, with that being said, let's jump right into it. So my number 100 is Marvel United. I really enjoy Marvel United, and it's a blast to play. I have so much content for this game, and quite frankly, I haven't been able to play as much of it as I would like. I have played it with my kids before, and I played it with my girlfriend Ruthie. I've had a blast playing the game, but it is a little bit, I think it slipped a little bit down on my list, mostly just because I haven't gotten it to the table as much as I like, but I do enjoy Marvel United, and it's a blast to play. But yeah, just definitely check that one out also. My number 99 is actually a kids game. I probably will have some games on here that I really enjoy because I enjoy playing them with my family and my kids so much, and this is Cora Quest. Cora Quest is basically a dungeon crawl game with artwork drawn by kids, and it's just really easy to get to the table and fun to play, and the thing I love about this game most is like the silly, zany stories, and there's like narrative you can listen to on the website as well. It's just fun to go through the different scenarios and play against the different bad guys, and I've just had a lot of fun playing this with my kids, so that's why it's my number 99. All right, let's get into it. Number 98 is going from kids game to a much bigger game. This is the first 4X style game and the first space game on my list. And no, also I do not have any games on my list that I designed myself, but this is Star Trek Ascendancy. Star Trek Ascendancy is a space game where you play as different Star Trek factions, and you're basically trying to explore the galaxy, build up resources, and try to build technology and try to utilize your faction to the best of the ability. The Enterprise is good about going out there and exploring. Of course, the Klingons are good at combat. This is a game that's wild and random, but I love the way that the board is actually set up. I love the way that as you explore, you have all these different planets and different lengths of lanes, and after you're done with the game, it looks like you actually built something out on the table. It's definitely wacky as far as the randomness in the game. Sometimes you can just fly straight into a nebula and blow a bunch of your stuff up, and that's probably why it's lower on my list, but I definitely still enjoy the game, and that is Star Trek Ascendancy. My number 97 is Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter is a social game where not only are you trying to save yourselves from zombies, but also there can be a traitor in your midst, and also you're trying to fulfill your own objective, because if you don't fulfill your objective, you can't win the game. But also it has that whole aspect of the crossroads cards, which I love, and the fact that a lot of these crossroad cards have these interesting moral questions on them, how are you going to do this? What are you going to do? Do you keep people out in the cold, or do you bring people in even though you might not have enough food to feed them? There's a lot of interesting stuff that happens in Dead of Winter. I don't get it to the table as much as I would like. I really need to go back and play more Dead of Winter just because I've enjoyed my plays of it so much, and I just enjoy the theme. I'm not even one much for zombie games, but this is about the people in that environment situations, and I love games with a hidden traitor trying to figure out and suss out who that is. So Dead of Winter. My next one here is another game that has someone that you're trying to suss out, and this is my number 96. This is Detective Club. Detective Club is a game that's similar to other games like Dixit or other games that have those cool art piece cards, but this is one where basically as you're playing the game, one person writes a word down based on one of the cards they have in their hand, and they write it on all these notepads except for one. So there's one person that doesn't know what the word is, and then you're laying out these picture cards, basically trying to inform the other players that you know what the word is, but one person is kind of having to make it up. And then you go around the table, and everybody basically explains why they picked the cards they did. And this is just a fun, interesting game to see people on the fly, come up with the reasons they pick stuff if they're the person that doesn't know. And it's just interesting to see how they kind of try to spin that, or basically maybe they base it off the other cards people played, because you play it one at a time, and maybe you're late in the turn order and you can see what other people place, and you're like, oh, this card kind of makes sense. And you can be like, oh, this because of this, you know, and it just, the bluffing aspect of this game is a lot of fun. And it's a great party style game that you can get into with people. So that is Detective Club. My number 95 is a game that's kind of in a trilogy, but this is my least favorite in the trilogy overall, so you might see the other ones higher on the list. That's what that means. But this is Ankh. So Ankh is a fun game set in Egypt, and I enjoy like the mechanics of this game. This game feels a little bit more mechanical than the other ones, but I really enjoy the action selection, how that works out, and trying to figure out what you're going to do with that. I love the way that the board divides itself as the game goes along, and being able to divide the board in the way that you want can make things really awesome. And with any of these CMON games, I love the miniatures in the game as well. It's exciting to see all the different miniatures, even though this is one that doesn't utilize as many of the miniatures that you get in the box because you're only using a few of those guardians or the monsters in the game. But yeah, I still really enjoy Ankh, and it's fun to play. I need to get this one to the table even more. The merge is not necessarily my favorite thing, but I technically have never been in the merge because I normally have the people that are lowest in score get merged together, and then they go against the other people. But yeah, maybe someday that'll happen. But yeah, the Ankh, my number 95. My number 94 is Keyforge. So Keyforge had this crazy, wild, interesting concept when it first came out. Just the fact of the decks you don't build yourself. They're all like procedurally generated by computers, and the names are all different and wacky. But the mechanics of the game itself are really solid as well. I love the fact that you choose one of your 3 houses in your deck, and you can only play cards or utilize cards from that house on the round you pick it, and trying to figure out how to play. This game is also another game that feels like wild and crazy as well sometimes, because there's so many like bombastic cards in this game that clear out the board or change things up or mess things up, or really strong characters. And sometimes overall, I feel like it's kind of interesting like how crazy the game is, but I definitely enjoy the mechanics and trying to reap the amber and trying to get your keys out there. But I do feel like a lot of people chase down the really strong decks, and that's what they play with. And I don't necessarily have the time to input into that, but playing Keyforge as a casual game is a lot of fun, so that's why it made my top 100 list. My number 93 is Horrified. This is a cooperative game where you're facing off against universal monsters, or maybe different cryptids and stuff depending on the version you're playing of the game. But yeah, it's a fun game where you're running around trying to save people from being attacked by these monsters, but then also trying to get the correct items to kind of take those monsters out. It's also feels very pick up and deliver-ish as you're running around trying to find the correct stuff, and you can change up the difficulty depending on how many monsters you add into the game. And each monster is going to have its own different flair and feeling to the game, and it just feels like a great game that you can bring all sorts of different people in because they know these different universal monsters, and it's fun to get to the table. Anyway, that's my number 93, Horrified. All right, the next one here is So Clover. This is a party style game, cooperative, where basically you have these 4 cards that you're kind of like spinning around, or they get set in certain configuration, and you have to try to find one word that matches those 2 cards together. And then after you have done that, you reveal that, and the other players are trying to put those words in the correct way to make it fit. All the cards have 4 sides on them, and they're trying to figure out which words match the word that you picked. And this is just one of those casual games. The reason this is on my top 100 list is just because I'm able to get it to the table with all sorts of different people, and it's fun to play. I play this at Dice Tower Retreats, I play it at Dice Tower East, I play it with friends and family, and I've just had so much fun playing So Clover, and that's why it's this high up here. I know sometimes people shy away from simple party games, but I just enjoy games that I'm able to play with people and have fun interactions and meaningful memories with people, and So Clover fits that bill and is a lot of fun, so that is why it is my 92. So last game for today, that is Cryo. This is another space game. I really enjoy Cryo just because it gives me that vibe of area control as you're basically trying to save these pods of people. and take them underground, but then you're trying to have them in the correct locations underground so that way you get victory points for them there. But the mechanics of this game is you have different drones. You're basically AI robots trying to go and save all the people. You have your drones flying around, getting different resources. And I love what Luke Laurie does with his games, where the fact of like you're getting stuff when you get on the board, but then when you pull your stuff back as well, you're getting stuff, and just building that little super simple little engine a little bit to make that work. And then just the concept and the theme behind it is fun too. There's like basically the sun is going down. You have to get them underground or everybody's going to freeze. They're already frozen in like cryostasis, but it's going to be bad if you don't get them underground to save the people. And I just really enjoy this game. I think it's a lot of fun. This is one that I taught on the cruise and taught at the Dice Tower Retreat. And this is a game that's kind of like one of those go-to games of like, have you tried Cryo? Have you played it? That I just like to bring out and show off to people just because it's a fun game to play. Anyway, that's been my top 100 for the first list here. I hope you join me for the rest of these. I definitely have a lot more games coming up that are super awesome, but I'm excited to share all of these with you. If you see my top 100 list before, there might not be too many surprises, but there definitely are some new interesting things on here as well, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. If you enjoy thematic style games or games where you just get to have fun and interact with other people at the table, then I think you'll enjoy my list overall. Anyway, I've been Roy Cannaday. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and I'll see you on the next one.